A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Channel 1 Weekend on this 29th day of May 2021. It is a day on which the organizers of this year's MADARAKA Day celebrations are mulling over a venue. Is it going to be the State Lodge in Kisumu, or is it going to be the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium? And also a little bit of crime stories coming in from Mombasa. Plus, it's a Saturday, so we are going to have a lot of stories to do with sport. But first, the highlights. Weighing the options. Government mulls changing MADARAKA Day national celebrations venue in Kisumu as a preventive measure to curb the spread of COVID-19. Constitutional rights violation. The Kenya National Union of Teachers Secretary General Wilson Sossion accuses the government of frustrating the workers' union. And 40 days of a thief. Police in Mombasa County arrest 2 criminals while on the trail of 3 other gangsters said to be terrorizing residents of Kisauni sub-county. Well, those are the stories that we are going to be looking at. And on the bottom right of your picture, we've got our sign language interpreter, Byron Abuli. Straight on to the news. And organizers of this year's MADARAKA Day national celebrations are mulling over a change of venue as Kisumu County grapples with soaring COVID-19 cases after 43 new infections were reported today. State House spokesperson Kanzedena Mararo says talks are ongoing between the Ministry of Health and local leaders to settle on an ideal venue between the newly built Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium, initially earmarked for the FIT, or the State Lodge in Kisumu. This is even as President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to arrive in the lakeside city on Sunday. Achola Simon reports.
The excitement in Kisumu County ahead of the MADARAKA Day national celebrations is almost palpable.
Ndio kuna mhemko, kuna mahanjam, kuna furaha, kuna bashasha ambayo inakuja na ujio wa rais katika kaunti hii. Lakini tungependa kuomba ya kwamba tukae chini nyumbani, runinga zetu za kuaminika na za kutajika zitakuwa zinapeperusha bashasha kila kitu, mbashara kila kitu. Kwa hivyo hutakuwa unakosa chochote. Ni kile kwamba utakuwa huko tu katika uga wa michezo.
County and privately contracted workers have been working round the clock to ensure the streets and even the proposed venue for the feat is ready for the big occasion. It is, however, emerging the venue could change to Kisumu State Lodge with a fewer number of people in attendance instead of the proposed newly constructed Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium that was to host 3,000 people.
Kwa hivyo bado kuna mawasiliano ambayo yanaendelea. Na najua pia gavana wa kaunti hii pamoja na kamishna wa kaunti hii wamekuwa wakizungumza mara kwa mara na wanahabari. Kwa hivyo endapo swala hili litahitajika kwamba tutaibidi tufanye sherehe hiyo hapa Ikulu, basi itafanywa hapa Ikulu.
Already the county government has scrapped plans to mount screens at 3 other venues owing to COVID-19 infection concerns. State House spokesperson Kanzedena Mararo said President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected in Kisumu on Sunday, accompanied by the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, ahead of his 3-day visit in the region.
His Excellency will not be coming via the train as earlier planned. So he will be landing at the airport and then come to the State House Lodge. But later on in the year, that trip will happen.
Reporting for Channel 1 News from Kisumu County, I'm Wycliffe Okage.
Well, and Burundian President Evariste Ndayishimiye will be the chief guest during Kenya's MADARAKA Day celebrations on Tuesday. Ndayishimiye will be on a 2-day state visit to Kenya at the invitation of President Uhuru Kenyatta. State House spokeswoman Kanzedena said the 2 countries will sign a bilateral agreement to further ties under the Joint Permanent Commission for Cooperation.
His Excellency President Evariste Ndayishimiye of the Republic of Burundi will arrive in Kisumu on Monday at the start of his 2-day state visit to the Republic of Kenya. State House spokeswoman Kanzedena said President Ndayishimiye, who will be accompanied by the First Lady of the Republic of Burundi, Her Excellency Angeline Ndayubaha, will join President Kenyatta during his tour of the various national government projects in Kisumu County and the Nyanza region.
Napenda kuwafahamisha ya kwamba Rais Uhuru Kenyatta katika siku kuu ya Madaraka ambayo itaweza kufanywa hapa katika kaunti ya Kisumu atakuwa na mgeni rasmi. Na mgeni wake atakuwa ni Rais wa Burundi anayefahamika kama Rais Evariste Ndayishimiye ambaye ataingia hapa siku ya Jumatatu. Atakuwa hapa kwa ziara ya kikazi ya kiserikali ya siku 2 na atakuwa bila shaka maandamana na baadhi ya mawaziri, bila shaka na wafanyabiashara.
The two heads of state are expected to hold talks to exchange views and discuss Kenya and Burundi strategic cooperation. The two countries cooperate in various areas of socio-economic and political development, anchored on the Joint Permanent Commission for Cooperation, signed in May 2008 as the main framework of bilateral cooperation. The areas of cooperation within the JPCC include, among others, agriculture and livestock development, trade and investment, air transport, education and research, tourism, security, technical assistance in various fields of development, and political consultations. And on Tuesday, President Ndayishimiye will wrap up his visit by attending the 58th Madaraka Day as the chief guest.
And now, 17 people have succumbed to COVID-19, 2 of them in the last 24 hours, while 15 are late death reports. On Saturday, the Ministry of Health announced 444 new infections from 4,989 samples that were screened. The country's coronavirus positivity rate remains above 5% and is now at 8.9% with 170,485 total infections. The counties with the highest number of infections are Nairobi, which recorded 54 new cases, Siaya has 53, Busia 47, Kisumu 43, while Kisii has 41 new cases. 115 patients recovered from the disease in the last 24 hours, 76 from the home-based care and isolation care program, while 39 are from various health facilities countrywide. A total of 968,733 persons have so far been vaccinated against the COVID-19 disease. Now, on to matters education, where the Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, has warned school heads against sending learners home for school fees, revealing that a total of 9.3 billion shillings has been disbursed to all public learning institutions. Speaking at Sagam Secondary School in Siaya County Saturday, where he commissioned classrooms, the Cabinet Secretary noted that 2.8 billion shillings and 6.5 billion shillings have been released to primary schools and secondary schools, respectively. Professor Magoha, at the same time, noted that the competence-based curriculum, CBC, is running smoothly in majority of the schools, even as the government plans to engage teachers in training to effectively deliver on the CBC.
And I want to state very categorically, without fear of contradiction, that I have visited more than 500 primary schools over the last 2 years. And there is no time I have entered a primary school without notice and missed the teacher engaging the children in an animated teaching. Going forward, there is need for us, and we are going to have the first group of diploma teachers trained from June next year, from June this year. It has delayed because of COVID.
And still on matters to do with education and teachers, where the Kenya National Union of Teachers Secretary General Wilson Session has accused the government of frustrating the workers' union in the country by violating its constitutional rights. Session criticized the government for failing to remit teachers' monthly dues to the Kenya National Union of Teachers NEGLIGENCE, claiming the move is meant to cripple operations and sponsor internal wrangles for the union to lose focus of fighting for the rights of its members. Ben Chumba has got this story.
The dispute between the Kenya National Union of Teachers NEGLIGENCE and the government continues to escalate as NEGLIGENCE now accuses the government of being behind the problems bedeviling the teachers union.
We have seen a letter by the Treasury CS to SRC telling SRC that there is no money for CBS. And it is not a surprise, union dues for NAT was switched off by the government and internal wrangles was sponsored by the government, so that we fight and lose our focus of fighting for our members.
Speaking in Kakamega after meeting with the Western Region KNUT delegates in readiness for the KNUT Annual Delegates Conference, Sosion said the union will not relent in demanding for the 32 billion shillings collective bargaining agreement funds.
So if government is thinking that we are busy fighting, they should better go back and do their homework and look for 32 billion shillings and prepare for negotiations. Number two, we shall not allow KNUT to be killed by government. We need our register back and the right to access union dues so that the union can organize.
Amid concerns that KNUT is standing on a shaky ground after some of its members deserted the union, Sosion, who is facing ouster by some individuals in the union, cautioned KNUT delegates from being used to disrupt the once vibrant union in the country.
I will never, ever betray teachers. And I urge the delegates to keep off from that group of traitors being organized by government. There is no way government and employers can dictate to a union who to lead them. We know they're burning midnight oil to try and see me out of the union.
Over the past 2 years, the teachers' union KNUT has been facing challenges with payment of salaries, allowances and medical covers across its 110 union branches. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Now, on from matters to teachers, and let's now deal with structural fidelity. The Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, says the collapsed Nyamira County Assembly building that was under construction could be a case of negligence. Dr. Matiang'i, who was in Nyamira Saturday, says though a team of experts will be deployed in the area to assess the building and give a conclusive report on the cause of the collapse, anyone found culpable will not be spared.
What I can pledge is we will act and we will go the direction the report will point us. And when the report points us in a particular direction, we will act without fear or favor against terrible rules involved. Because you see, first of all, this is a very irresponsible and reckless wastage of public resources. Number one. Number two, we're actually endangering our lives because I have asked I want the DCI and his people to go through everything. You know, look through the construction company that was assigned here, the process of supervision and everything else. Where action is, where the report points us is the direction we will go. And we will not be deterred by anything. Because, look, people need to understand one thing. We're actually sometimes not just playing with people's lives, also playing with public resources.
And from out west, let's go deep east, where police in Mombasa County this morning arrested 2 alleged criminal gang members from their hideout in MLALEO area in Kisauni sub-county, hours after they attacked a man with machetes in his house. Confirming the incident, Nyali Sub-County Police Commander Daniel Masaba said police are in hot pursuit of 3 other gangsters who fled the scene. Michael Mwandiga with the story.
It was the end of the road for the 2 members of criminal gang that for days has left residents of MLALEO area in Kisauni sub-county of Mombasa with sleepless nights. According to authorities here, the knife-wielding criminal gang has been staging serious assaults on residents and tourists in the coastal city. In the latest incident, the gang attacked a man in his house and left him for the dead. But the gang's proverbial 40 days could come to pass today after police acting on a tip-off raided the hideout and managed to arrest 2 of the gang members. 3 others managed to flee.
Vijana wawili wale wamepatikana na tunaendelea kufuata, si wawili peke yake. Tutahakikisha mpaka ule amejificha hata chini ya mkungu pale hapo kwa mchanga tutamtoa. Hatutakubali mtu kwenda kukata mwingine bila sababu. Unaamuka tu na kufuata mtu kwenda kumkata. We shall not agree that. Hatutakubali. Hiyo ni onyo natoa, hatutakubali. Hata wale walikuwa nano wamejificha. Ni lazima watapatikana. Ni lazima. Hatulali mpaka wapatikane. Mpaka tuhakikishe Nyali ni mahali panaweza kuishi, kuacha vitu zako pasipo kutembea na hofu.
Police had a hectic moment controlling members of the public who were baying for the suspect's blood. Police recovered crude weapons among the machetes, axes, iron bars, knives and several rolls of bang from the hideout. The man injured in the machete attack was rushed to Coast General Hospital, where he is said to be in critical condition. Nyumba Kumi members in MLALEO area, Louis Baya and Alpha Mjomba, while hailing the police for the swift response, said the knife-wielding criminal gangs have put several estates in the area under siege in the recent past.
Tunatarajia tuwe na amani mtaani kwetu. No, mimi nimeridhika na vile polisi wamekuja wamevamia hiyo nyumba, which is very good. Kwa sababu hiyo miaka nyuma tulikuwa hatupati response kama hiyo. Right now, the response is very quick and active, which is very good.
Wananchi wa mtaa wangu wamefanya vizuri na wamefanya bidii ya kwamba wale vijana wamepatikana na wamepelekwa polisi. So kitu ambacho nimefurahia ni kwamba the quick response na siku hizi kwa sababu ya mitandao. Hiyo quick response yani habari imetembea haraka sana, because hata walipofanya after 1 to 2 hours tayari walikuwa washapatikana.
Reporting for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
And from one story to do about fighting crime to another, where the community has decided that crime has to come to an end. Elders and Morans from the Samburu and Pokot communities have resolved to bury the hatchet and end cattle rustling and retaliatory attacks. The resolution was made at a reconciliation meeting attended by former National Cohesion and Integration Commission Chair, the Honorable Francis Olekaparo.
It is at Ngoisusu village in Sosian, ward of Laikipia North constituency, that a reconciliation meeting between leaders from Samburu and Pokot communities, including elders and Moran warriors, and the former National Cohesion and Integration Commission Chair Francis Olekaparo, resolved to end perennial banditry attacks.
Tumekuwa na mikutano zaidi ya 5 ya kamati ya jamii yote mbili patanishi. Na tumetengeneza hatua kiasi. Kama vile mmesikia, tayari jamii ya Pokot wameregesha ng'ombe 78 ile tumeambiwa tunapeana leo.
Olekaparo urged the two pastoral communities to look continuously for amicable ways of solving conflict. He faulted political and professional leaders from pastoral communities in Laikipia, Samburu, Baringo and Isiolo counties for failing to mediate and end clashes that have led to loss of life and livestock.
Viongozi wa wafugaji wenzangu, muna kazi kubwa kuwaonesha wale mnaoongoza njia ya kweli na njia ya amani. Iko mikononi mwenu, mchague kufanya hivyo ama mchague kunyamaza, watu waendelee kuiba mali ya wenzao na kuwaua.
Olekaparo, who is the former Speaker of the National Assembly, challenged the Pokot and Samburu communities to embrace traditional moral values and foster peace. Tiati East OCPD Kobia Barrio cited the proliferation of small arms and light weapons as a trigger to the perennial conflict.
All the communities around here, the Pokot, the Samburus, the Tugen, and several other communities, wako na bunduki ambazo ni haramu. Na tungependa, serikali ingependa, hizi bunduki zote watu warudishe.
The leaders pledged to work together to realize peace, calling on the political class to shift their focus from ethnic politics to development.
Hiyo siku tulikuwa hapa siku yote, hakuna kitu tulisikia mbaya. Mimi nasema asante upande wenu wa Samburu, upande wa Pokot vile vile. Sisi kama wazee tunahitaji namna hiyo. Na ndio mnaona sisi nashughulikia hiyo.
We are able to discover that a majority of the youth don't take role in peacekeeping mission.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
Thank you, Ben Troy, for that report, and we hope that peace prevails and we can all visit some of these beautiful parts of the country up north. Now, let's get back to the capital of the country, where a desperate family in Dandora Phase 4, Nairobi County, is appealing to the members of the public to help them trace their kin as 72-year-old Samuel Agengo Ogol, who went missing on the 15th of March this year. Although the family reported the incident to the nearby Dandora police station, Samuel is yet to be found.
Someone went missing after he had traveled from Kisumu to Dandora to spend a few days with his wife and kids, only to disappear days later without a trace. The family says it's now 2 weeks since he went missing and nothing is forthcoming to his whereabouts.
Ilikuja ndio tuzidi kutafuta. Tumeshamtafuta, nilienda Kenyatta mochari, nilienda hospitali sikumpata, nimeenda City mochari. So tumetafuta mpaka kwa nyumba za wazee. Nilienda ile iko Kariobangi na kuna nyumba ya wazee Kasarani. Hatukumpata.
Elsewhere, in Gakoyo village, Muranga County, two 17-year-olds, Mercy Waithera and Clarin Jerry, who are in Form 2 and Form 3 respectively, disappeared mysteriously on Sunday, and their phones have been off since then.
Baada ya kurudi fellowship, kurudi na huku tena, walikuwa wawili. Huyo mwingine anaitwa Clarin Jerry Mwangi. Na paka leo hawajarudi. Mimi naomba mahali wako tafadhali warudi ili tuwe na roho mzuri.
Akionekana mahali yako, mimi namwambia akuje amalize shule. Akimaliza ataenda kutafuta kazi kama ni kazi anataka. Mimi namwambia on good faith arudi nyumbani na nitafurahi.
The Mukore wa Nyagathanga Secondary School students were last seen at ACK St. Mark's Kabui Church, where they are the youth members. Their families are now worried that their girls' safety and sake could have fallen into wrong hands.
Sasa venye nasema ningewaomba Mercy, mkiwa na Clarin Jerry, kwenye mko tafadhali rudini nyumbani, tunawatafuta na tunawataka mrudi. Juu sasa mlikuwa mumeenda kanisani na mkasema vizuri mmekuja kanisani tusome, lakini tena sijui ni nini liwashika mkaenda. Sasa kwenye tu mko na waomba Mercy na Clarin mkuje, tunawangojea.
And let's get a wrap of news from all around the country. The Kenya University's Staff Union, KUSU, held its national elections in Kisii, with Dr. Charles Mukwaya retaining his seat as the Secretary General. The elections held against a backdrop of an ongoing strike at the Kisii University, so some of the union's branches replaced the entire former office bearers. More of this and other stories in our county news wrap.
During the special delegates meeting at a resort in Kisii town, Philip Onyango was elected as KUSU's national chairperson. Others who were elected included James Makori as national treasurer, Mwanza Kioko as national vice chairperson, and Agrion Songo as deputy national secretary general. Addressing the delegates, Mukwaya challenged the incoming officials to brace for underway confrontation with the employer over unfair remuneration.
Ikiwa wewe ulichaguliwa na tayari uko na kiwewe, wewe ukiona vice chancellor watakutoroka tu, watakujiingiza chini ya meza, wewe anza kujigura bwana, jiondoe. Labda wale ambao ni wajasiri wapate fursa ya kuingia na kupigania haki za wafanyikazi. Some of our branches, they swept out all the officers and brought in new officers.
Elsewhere, a non-governmental organization has stepped in to address the Jiga menace in Busia County by donating drugs to affected residents. Those most affected by the Jiga infestation are school-going children, some of whom have reportedly been forced to stay at home due to pain.
Vijidudu hivi hata mtoto anapokuwa navyo vinawasha, vinaleta uchungu. Hata mwalimu anapofundisha mtoto hawezi kuconcentrate, hawezi kuwa na ile concentration maximum katika darasa. So unapata ina affect masomo ya mtoto na matokeo ya mtoto katika maisha yake.
Meanwhile, more than 1,500 underprivileged students from Kajiado East Sub-County have benefited from 13 million shilling scholarships courtesy of the Emergency Bursary Fund. The decision to allocate the scholarships was arrived by Kajiado East Constituency Development Fund Committee after realizing many learners lack school fees.
Tumesikia kilio mingi, watu wameathirika na corona, wamefunga mabiashara na bado wanahitajika kushughulikia familia kama kawaida, watu bado wanalisha mafamilia na bado pia wanahitaji kurudisha watoto shule.
Still in Kajiado, the national government and the Narok County government have collaborated with various stakeholders to plant 10 million trees in the region in the last 3 months.
Na tutaendelea na hiyo shughuli mpaka tuhakikishe kwamba tumefikisha ile target yetu tulikuwa nayo ya 43 million trees seedlings planted in Narok County this year.
In Taita Taveta, County Governor Granton Samboja has challenged residents to use their community land for economic activities such as ecotourism, wildlife and conservation. The governor noted that with issuance of title deeds, communities now have power to utilize land to improve their livelihoods.
Kutoka tupate uhuru mpaka leo wamekuwa wakisumbuliwa na kunyanyaswa, na hali kadhalika ardhi ni yao. Kisa cha wananchi hawa kunyanyaswa ni vile hawana title deed. Ndio maana unaona kila mtu anakuja na kuchezea mashamba ya Wateribi kana kwamba mashamba ni yao.
And finally, residents of Tilito in Chepsoen Ward, Kericho County took to the streets to protest the pathetic state of local roads. The irate resident says Kapchaba's Tilito Road is in bad state and the contractor has gone ahead to work on the road despite the road being too steep for any vehicle to access.
And let's take a wrap of the news from all around the world. A sinister threat is lurking beneath a lake near the city of Goma in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Geologists say the underground magma has been flowing towards Lake Kivu since the eruption of Mount Nyiragongo on Saturday. Subsequently, tens of thousands of people have fled Goma, leaving the city eerily deserted.
Experts fear an eruption from under the lake could trigger the release of a lethal suffocating cloud of gas. The eruption, known as a limeic eruption, poses a rare but potentially catastrophic risk to Goma's residents. Fearing this and other possible volcanic activity, tens of thousands of people have been told to evacuate Goma, leaving the city eerily deserted. According to UN, about 400,000 people have fled Goma over fears of a fresh volcanic eruption. Others are moving into neighboring Rwanda, the Virunga National Park and even across Lake Kivu. 8 agencies are trying to provide food, shelter, water and sanitation. Elsewhere, Mali's Constitutional Court has named the leader of the country's military coup, Colonel Assimi Goïta, as its transitional president. Colonel Goïta had already declared himself interim president on Wednesday, 2 days after seizing power in Mali's second coup in 9 months. He also led the first coup last August, which saw the elected President Ibrahim Boubacar forced out of office. The court said Friday's decision was due to the vacancy in the presidency. On Monday, the two men tasked with steering the country back to civilian rule, interim President Bando and Prime Minister Mokhtar One, were detained by soldiers. Colonel Goïta said that both men had failed in their duties and were seeking to sabotage the country's transition. They were released on Thursday after resigning. Patricia Waidera for Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Patricia, for that story. Well, you are watching Channel 1 Weekend, and we will be taking a short break, and when we get back, we'll be talking about sport. There's athletics to talk about, there's football, para-rowing, and also, remember, one product that KBC Channel 1 will be bringing to you next month, the WRC Safari Rally. Let's take this short break and come back with stories around all those events.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 04032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka kwenye QuickWin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
The Board of Trustees of Telposta Pension Scheme and Fund advises all members that the 2020-2021 AGM shall be held virtually on Monday 31st May 2021 from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The event will be live on KBC Channel 1 TV, YouTube and Facebook pages. Did you know you can take up a funeral insurance, also known as last expense, for your loved ones? Consider taking a funeral cover to avoid unnecessary stress and fundraising when you lose a loved one. This policy covers funeral-related expenses such as burial fees, transportation costs, and grave preparation. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured.
And welcome back to Channel 1 Weekend. And if you're joining us right now, we're getting into the sport. My name is Daniel Wahome. Our sign language interpreter is Byron Abuli. And 3 para-rowing athletes who will represent Kenya in the last round of the Paralympic Games qualifiers in Italy will leave the country on the 1st of June. The team intensified training today at Ruiru, Kiambu County. Fred Mwoki has got the report.
Miriam Amakobe, Caleb Museti and Peter Odhiambo will represent Kenya in the last round of Paralympic Games qualifiers in Italy. The team, which will be seeking to cleanse a ticket to this year's Paralympic Games, has been in training camp for 4 days now under the tutelage of Swale Faki.
Kuna kategori ya 3 ya boti tena ya watu 4. Naona sasa hiyo pia tunaitarajia pia itakuwa pia tunaenda tukivunja historia, na tukipata hiyo boti tunawazidi kuwashirikisha walemavu, ambapo wale walemavu wako nje wamekaa, wasijisikie wanaboeka ama wako katika hali ya unyonge, waje hapa, ziko nafasi za kuwapatia kuja kujichangia, waonekane, wajulikane, wa prove wrong pia binadamu wengine kama disability is not inability.
Amakobe and Moseti will be featuring in the mixed doubles car category, while Odhiambo will be featuring in the singles PR1 category.
Slap polishing ambao mahali tulikuwa tukifanya vizuri tumejaribu kurectify.
Najua uko mbele kuna matumaini makubwa sana. Na Kenya siku moja tutainua hii bendera ya rowing, na rowing itakuwa kama ya mbio. Sasa kila mtu atakuwa anakuja huko.
Area ambazo tunastahili kunini sahi sioni. Juma coach wetu amejitahidi, hata kama muda umekuwa kidogo, juu wakati huo kulikuwa kunafungwa mara corona.
Ngana na yeye ako na experience ya miaka mingi. Sasa vile wako kwa boti moja na Mseti, wata communicate, coordination itabidi waongee, ingiliane.
It was not very sufficient, but they have done their very best, and we want to look forward to getting very good results.
If the athletes qualify for the games, they will join Kenyan Asiya Mohammed, who already sealed a slot to the Tokyo Games. Asiya qualified during the 2019 African qualifiers that were held in Tunisia. The Italian event is set to kick off on 4th to 6th of next month. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
From the water to the track, where Elias Ngeno from Kaptagat timed 1 minute 43.84 seconds to clock Olympic Games qualification time in the 800 meters at the Athletics Kenya Olympic Games pre-trials culminated today at the Nyayo National Stadium. Meanwhile, Mary Mora cruised through to victory in the women's 800-meter finals.
Mary Mora clocked 2 minutes 1.12 seconds in the women's 800 meters final, finishing first, while Naomi Korir and Jarinta Mawia finished in the second and third positions, timing 2 minutes 2.20 seconds and 2 minutes 2.43 seconds respectively. In the men's race, Elias Ngeno from Kaptagat timed 1 minute 43.84 seconds to clock Olympic Games qualification time. He was followed by Hilary Biwot, who clocked 1 minute 44.80 seconds, while Noah Kibet finished in the third position at a time limit of 1 minute 45.11 seconds.
Kuja maridadi kabisa kuja katika nafasi hiyo.
And on to cricket, where the national ladies cricket team will leave the country early next month, heading to Rwanda to compete at the Kwibuka Memorial Tournament, set to be held from the 6th to the 12th of June in Kigali, Rwanda. The team has been finalizing their training at the Sikh Union Club ahead of their trip on the 4th of June. Buckley Feather with the report. After a 2-year layoff due to the coronavirus pandemic, the national women's cricket team is back in training, preparing for the Kwibuka Memorial Tournament to be held from the 6th to the 12th of June at the Gahanga Cricket Stadium in Kigali. The team of 20 players has been beefing up training in Nairobi ahead of their trip to Rwanda, with all the 20 players expected to get a place in the traveling contingent. 3-time champions Kenya will be heading to Rwanda to fight for a 4th trophy, having been crowned champions in 2015, 2017 and 2018.
The fitness is not very bad. The thing is that the game situation is a different thing, because I've not been playing and I've not spent time on the wicket. Having said that, we have around 6 of very experienced players who have been around for over 5 years. So I think they can use the experience to cover what is lacking in terms of games in the middle.
The Kwibuka Memorial Tournament is an annual event that has been held since 2014 in remembrance of the victims of the 1994 genocide.
This is the first tournament they are going to after mambo ya COVID na kila kitu. So mimi niko na hope kwamba they will perform well, lakini at the same time siwezi underestimate teams kama Uganda, Rwanda pia, they are coming up very strongly, but I know our girls are good.
Meanwhile, the Cricket Normalization Committee is confident that Cricket Kenya will be reborn by August this year. The bone of contention, the constitution, has been reviewed to ensure the smooth running of the association.
It's just a matter of agreeing to work together, and once people agree to work together and focus on the athletes, and I know that at the end of the day, the athlete is at the center of the activities, and to also look at the growth of the sport across the country. I think once and all stakeholders seem to agree in that perspective that the athlete should be at the center, that we should all try as much as possible to develop the sport.
Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohamed formed the Normalization Committee in March to restore lost glory after continued wrangles had put the game to its knees.
When you have a cream of players and then they leave, then you're found wanting. So I think the best thing and the best thing that will happen is if anybody comes in, then they plan long term. You see, if you have to plan even beyond your term, and then there'll be continuity. If I'm the chairman and I know somebody else will take over, I'm not going to plan only for my term. So plan long term, because we need a lot of years to groom upcoming players.
For Channel 1 Sport, I am Daniel Wahome. Now, selection for the national under-21 hockey team players has begun countrywide as the Kenya Hockey Union hopes to send 2 very strong teams to the Africa Junior Championships set for August this year. Winners of the Africa Championship will represent the continent at the World Junior Hockey Championship set for November and December this year.
Selection of junior national team players has begun countrywide, with several experienced coaches doing a countrywide selection for the team that will fly the country's flag at the Africa Junior Championship in Namibia.
We are still working on our basics, because if we don't get our basics right, then we'll not be able to perform effectively as a team. And then we also working on the set plays, because remember, hockey is a technical game, so matches are won or lost at the set plays.
Only 20 players for each team will travel to Namibia, but the coaches are conducting a countrywide search under the development project. The weekly training programs for the players will be ongoing until August, when the team travels to the continental event, set to be held from the 14th to 22nd of August this year in Namibia.
I think they've done well to adopt the Astro. Most of them play on grass, on Maram, so they've really tried to adapt on Astro. As far as technical and tactical, we'll work on that later. We just need to make sure that we get the right talent for the tournament.
The winners of the Africa event will represent the continent at the World Championship, with the ladies competing in South Africa from the 5th to 16th of December, while the men will head to India from the 25th of November to 5th of December.
We are trying our best to adhere to the protocols as much as possible. Yeah, so we wish to train observing the protocols within the time frame given so that we can take part in the tournament.
It is, however, still a challenge for the Hockey Union to support the teams traveling to international assignments following the COVID-19 return to sport protocols that are costly.
It has taken a lot of resources to assemble these teams here. With the COVID season in place, you know, there is a protocol we have to follow, and it is a very expensive process to train a team. But if we want to compete and if we want to remain in sports, we have no otherwise. We have to partake to that.
About 50 junior players took part in the opening day selection at the City Park Stadium.
And on to an event that the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is going to be covering. We're talking about the World Rally Championship Safari Rally. And reigning Kenya National Rally Champion Baldev Singh Chaga is overly excited that his R4 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 is in amazing shape and fully compliant with the requisite standards set by the world governing body, the FIA. Chaga will be returning to the Safari Rally for the first time in over 2 decades. His last participation was in 1998.
As organizers embark on their final phase of the 2021 FIA WRC Safari Rally, Kenya champion Baldev Chaga has taken time to extol his team. Chaga is excited with the manner in which his Cabras stablemates have worked with the car and how they have gotten everything pointing to the right direction. The multiple Kenya and Safari champion is overly excited that his R4 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 is fully compliant with the FIA standards. Chaga will be returning to the iconic Safari, incidentally on his 8th year under Cabras Sugar Racing team.
According to the route we did in the Equator Rally, it's just as challenging. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the modern generation of WRC drivers also put up with this, because none of them have also done the Safari Rally itself.
National drivers have been accorded a special dispensation by the FIA following the extension of homologation for some cars like Subaru Impreza and 10. Safety standards for Safari eligibility entail fitting the FIA's approved safety fuel tank. Chaga was among the over 30 Kenyan crew who will compete at the WRC Safari Rally to be held from the 24th to 27th of next month following the publication of the entry list yesterday.
The oldest entrant in this rally, driver, is 91 years old, and the youngest is 20 years old. So we will see who has a greater advantage, the experienced one or the young one. That will be interesting to watch.
Chaga leads the national class entries, while Maxim Wahome is the only lady in the driver's seat of Subaru Impreza. 5-time Safari winner Carl Tundo will compete in the WRC 3 class together with Onkar Rai, Tajveer Rai and Karan Patel.
If it were not for COVID, we would actually be talking about bringing into the country well over 200,000 visitors. But right now, because of COVID, what we know is that the event will be followed globally. The entire year, we expect WRC to attract well over 850 million television viewers in 155 countries around the world.
KBC Channel 1 will broadcast the championship live.
Kupata skiza tune hii, Ufunuo wa Yohana 38 dial *811 *817 hash.
Wakati mwingi katika maisha binadamu hujipata kwa shida, unapata ya kwamba hauna usaidizi unaohitaji, biashara zinaisha, hakuna mapato ya kila siku. Lakini hata kwa hayo yote, Biblia inasema ya kwamba katika kitabu cha Ufunuo wa Yohana mlango wa 3 mstari wa 8, na yajua matendo yako. Tazama, nimekupa mlango uliofunguliwa mbele yako.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya Yohana 38 dial *811 *817 hash, dial *811 *817 hash.
Sasa hii ng'ombe ni yako.
Asante. Hii ng'ombe itatoa maziwa mengi kabisa. Sasa shida ya school fees imeisha. Jen, chukua hii. Hebu nikuulize, hii maneno nasikia ya bima ya elimu inaweza kuwa namna gani mtu anachukua? Process ya kuchukua insurance cover yote ni rahisi. Hata niko na cover ya gari yangu.
Kwanza unajaza proposal form kama hii na uijaze wewe mwenyewe, na kama haujui kusoma uijaze na mtu unayemwamini. Hakikisha ile majibu umepatiana ni sahihi na ni ya kweli. Pia thibitisha insurance cover imeangalia masilahi yako, na usiwahi sign proposal form ambayo haijaandikwa kitu chochote. Pia ukumbuke kujitolea photocopy yako.
Oh, sasa wacha nianze hiyo process.
By the way, ukisubmit hiyo proposal form, uhakikishe umepatiwa policy document. Uisome na uielewe. Hiyo ndio thibitisho ya kuwa una bima. Asante sana.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
And welcome back to Channel 1 Weekend, and we continue with the sports news of the day. And now, the Africa Weightlifting Championship that brought together 13 African nations culminated today in Nairobi. Kenya, under the tutelage of Douglas Locho, amassed a total of 14 medals comprising 8 silver and 6 bronze.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the government for the support they have given us. They have helped us a lot to manage and be here, and the federation too, and the coaches for the tremendous work they have done.
It was tough, yeah. I was aiming to snatch 66, but unfortunately stick to 6 snatch 4. So I did 61.
In the snatch, I managed 42 kgs. In clean and jerk, I managed 50 kgs. Yeah. From being a new entrant, it was a good experience, and I had to put in the work.
I came out the third one. I won bronze, and I'm so happy. Although this was not what I expected, I wanted to either silver or gold, but I thank God for everything, because he's the one that has given me strength so that I can lift.
Kwanza nikiwashukuru sababu time haikuwa enough na federation yetu, sababu walikuwa tuna 2 weeks za kuprepare na haikuwa rahisi. So ni kuwashukuru na kuwaambia watie moyo kabisa, sababu tayari washainuka hata Afrika sasa inatutambua.
We are looking forward to having a more and more event like this in this hotel, and this will be helping us not only in the growing of the Golden Tulip Westline Hotel, but this will help us to growing the country as well. So our country, the Kenya and the city Nairobi, will be also in the higher platform in the World Championship. So we are very happy to see all the countries. We're very happy to see all the heavyweightless sports persons.
Now, last night was a great night for anybody who loves Kenyan athletes. This is because they dominated the Doha Diamond League meeting in Qatar, barely 2 months before the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games in Japan. And even through the scintillating performances by the various Kenyan athletes, their eyes could not fail to capture youngster Beatrice Chebet's performance in the 3,000 meters, which earned her the prize for the best female athlete of the meeting.
Beatrice Chebet stunned the star-studded field of athletes to win the 3,000 meters at the Doha Diamond League, shaving 22 seconds off her personal best time. The 21-year-old clocked 8 minutes 27.49 seconds to win the race ahead of 4 other Kenyan athletes, including Helen Obiri, who lined up in positions 2 to 5 respectively. The other Kenyan, Eva Cherono, finished 8th.
Can't do anything about it. It's Chebet, though, who's going to take a massive scalp. Helen Obiri fades over the last 100 metres, and it's Beatrice Chebet who takes the win, the 21-year-old. Massive performance from her, 8:27. That's a huge personal best.
Faith Kipyegon was another Kenyan who proved too fast for the 800 meters field, winning the 2-lap race in 1 minute 58.26 seconds. Her time was 1 second short of her personal best time, but was enough to beat Gwale Natoya of Jamaica and Arafi Rababe of Morocco, who were the other podium finishers. Nora Jeruto was not left behind in the stars of the night in Doha, winning the 3,000 meters steeplechase. She clocked 9 minutes flat to finish 2 seconds ahead of Abebe Mekides of Ethiopia and Yavi Winfred of Bahrain. Compatriot Hyvin Kiyeng finished 4th and Rosflin Chepngetich 9th. The Kenyan men were also at their very best. Timothy Cheriot had the pace and power in the final lap to win a tight 1,500 meters in 3 minutes 30.48 seconds, while compatriot Bethwell Birgen and Vincent Kibet could not keep up as they finished 5th and 7th respectively. The 800 meters saw a 1-2 finish for Kenya, Wycliffe Kinyamal just edging Ferguson Rotich, who had to settle for the silver. Kinyamal clocked 1 minute 43.91 seconds to finish just ahead of Rotich, who clocked 1 minute 44.45 seconds. Apart from the Kenyans, Jamaican Shelley Ann Fraser-Price was also part of the stars of the night, winning the women 100 meters.
And on to local football, where KCB suffered only their 4th defeat of the 2020-2021 FKF Premier League season when they went down by a solitary goal to Sofapaka in one of the 2 matches played today. KCB, who still topped the table on 36 points, had only lost 3 times in 18 matches this season and conceded to Lawrence Juma in the 35th minute of the match. The win was the 6th of the season for Sofapaka, who are 11th on the table with 22 points. Nairobi City Stars defeated Kariobangi Sharks 2-1 in the second match played today. Peter Opio and Olivier Maloba netted the 2 goals for City Stars, while Daniel Sakari grabbed a consolation goal for Sharks. City Stars are 9th, while Sharks remain 4th on the FKF Premier League table. Well, 24 hours ago, this was on KBC Channel 1, and in case you missed it, here's a recap. Mohamed Sharif and Salah Mohsin's second-half goals handed Egyptian giants Al Ahly their 7th total CAF Super Cup title after beating Renaissance Sportif Berkane 2-0 at the Jassim bin Hamad Stadium in Doha last night. It was the second continental title for coach Pitso Mosimane since joining the Cairo Giants in October last year from Mamelodi Sundowns. And tonight, the noise will all be about English clubs who are facing each other. Chelsea will face Manchester City, 2 Premier rivals, and this is in the final of the UEFA Champions League in Lisbon, Portugal. Chelsea reached the final after beating Real Madrid in the semi-finals, while Manchester City ousted Paris Saint-Germain from the competition in the last 4 stage. The final will be played in front of about 16,500 fans at the Estadio do Dragão.
It's an all-English Champions League final, but will it be Manchester City or Chelsea who will be crowned champions of Europe tonight in Portugal? City are looking to Wegao ground to watch the match. Both sides have fully fit squads to choose from, although City midfielder Ike Gundogan took a minor knock in Friday's training session after a collision with Fernandinho. City's Spanish born, the German took Paris Saint-Germain to the final, losing 1-0 to Bayern Munich. The final will be decided tonight with 30 minutes of extra time and then penalties if required. Each side will be allowed 5 substitutions, with a 6th permitted for each side if the final goes to extra time.
Well, that UEFA Champions League final preview brings us to the end of Channel 1 Weekend tonight. And I want to thank you for being with us this evening. And to the team that put together this bulletin, our producers, our editors, and also the people who work behind the scenes to make sure that these things happen. I want to say thank you, our transmission team right here at Broadcasting House and also the transmission stations. But the most important person is you, the viewer. I want to wish you a very good evening. My name is Daniel Wahome. Our sign language interpreter, bottom right of the picture, has been Byron Abuli. Have a blessed Saturday night. Keep safe.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 072